everyone, good evening, and we are here to welcome you to a very special edition of the Londonderry View, episode 65, which is pretty amazing. The next few episodes are going to be devoted to celebrating the good people in our town who are willing to run for our town election for different positions. Tonight we have with us Bob Slater, who is running again for our school board, and he's been serving on it. And Bob, we're so happy to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for having me.
And Bob, Deb and I tonight, we just want to, give everyone an opportunity to share why you're continuing to run and why you want to continue to serve our school board. A little bit about yourself so that our viewers and all of the residents can get to know you a little better.
Sure. Thanks, Sherry.
You're welcome.
I running for re-election. You're a school board member for the past 3 years. Got heavily involved 2 years prior to that. And been in the community now for just about 37 years. Have a couple of grandchildren in the school system, and that been heavily involved in a lot of outside groups in the community, helping with certain projects, and really got into the school due to a community member coming and asking me to get involved with a project. And then started attending all the meetings back 5 years ago, and to this point, 5 years later, I've attended every meeting but two, and that. But once I sat through some meetings, I felt as though there was ways I could help with a business background. I own a company here locally in town for the last 35 years, and really love the community of Londonderry. And my ultimate goal after getting involved with the schools with a business background was to bring some business ideas and think out of the box to make our district better in many ways, and then to learn how the education portion works as I went along as a board member. Very, very eye-opening. The business end of it is pretty simple to me. That's my trade. But, and then, I was fortunate enough by you folks out there to elect me back in 2020. And I thank you for that. And I hope I've earned another chance to go another 3-year term and continue the good fortunes and success that are happening now in our schools, fiscally and educationally wise. And it was unfortunate at the time, once the election was over, that following Monday, the schools got shut down with COVID. I got sworn in on Sunday, and the schools, were shut down on Monday. So the first year and a half was basically life learning experience and trying to work with so many community members regarding COVID. That's what we spent the majority of our time, not education, and it really hurt. But we turned the corner in 21. Meanwhile, we had some things going on, but we couldn't really get involved in the schools. And there was very limited community things we could do. So we got over that hurdle, and closed out 21 in a better way. And then 22 started, and we're off to a great start. A little bit back history, in 22, we had a lot of leadership role changes at the district office. We have brought in a new superintendent, new HR director, and a new business agent. So, and some executive secretaries to the superintendent, and some other key staff, and we've had some changes in the buildings as well. So some things I've worked on out of the gate is in 19, when I first ran, brought to the existing superintendent, or the past superintendent, let me clear that up, that the school district from a business sense needed a plan, a master plan. We know we all have a CIP in town, which works on, a 6-year long-range plan. Mm-hmm. But our schools are getting older, much older. We have buildings that are 70 years old, 50 years old, 40 years old. Our newest building is 22 years old. That's our newest building, which is Moose Hill School.
22 years.
So,
That's hard to
you know,
believe.
Matthew Thornton is 72 years old. So we needed a master plan. I met with the superintendent and said, you need a master plan for the district so we can start planning to be fiscally responsible and get public input and move forward with our buildings so we can focus on our education as well. So that started the process through the COVID year, and we were able to get a lot of that done while we were dealing with COVID. And what that plan does is it makes it so we can look to the future. We can embrace the taxpayers with information and why and reason, and be prepared for building improvements and that down the road. Then once we got into 22, actually the spring of 22, before the school year ended, myself and another colleague, we were able to go into the buildings and start meeting with staff. Very eye-opening. I feel as though any school board member needs to know how the buildings operate, education-wise, needs, wants even. You got to know what the wants are, but the needs are more important. Right. What they need to teach our children and to be successful on the education part. We had pulled back the facility study, revealing in May, and brought in the staff to a board meeting to get some input. And then I started visiting all the schools before school got out and got input. And then we were able to work with the superintendent, because when the superintendent comes to us and asks for things, it's nice if we know as a board already, and we can get it for them. And it was great, and we continually go through buildings. If somebody calls, we'll go down and meet with them and staff. And so that helped on that side. Another thing we revitalized was a communication committee. As you've seen, probably most of you out there's a lot of social media now for the school district. That was non-existent, basically, for a long time, and we need our community members, our taxpayers, our staff to be able to see this stuff and the good things going on in the buildings and needs in the building, and celebrate education of kids, and that's so important. So that's going well. We really worked hard, and I believe we're really in a great spot with collaboration with the town. We have, I think, brought that back to light, where we communicate. We need to know where the town is heading, population-wise, building-wise, and that way it makes us helps us plan for facilities and where we need to do these improvements down the road now that we have a plan. So we work hand in hand, the town manager and the superintendent, have monthly communication and that. So it's all planning,
Really
and that. And then working with the superintendent and his team, we started this fall more frequent updates to the school board on how the students are doing in the class.
Ooh, that's...
Because you really don't want to wait until the state testing. It's too late. You lose months of learning. So if we get an update quarterly or semester-wise, we can make adjustments during the year, and we can attack the areas that are weak. Then this is something that we are implementing for Londonderry. We want to make sure that Londonderry is headed in the right direction. Fiscally responsible, but more importantly, the foundation is solid for the education of our kids.
For our future generations.
Yeah,
look to the future always.
Absolutely.
That's right.
We went through a big update on security in the buildings. Alice training for the full staff, and that's another big. And also, myself and a colleague are reaching out to the state level and a government level for grants. As you know, we have a $5 million bond to replace some 40, 50-year-old boilers in the schools, because we know we can't jump on new buildings right now. We're not set up for it, we're not prepared for it, but we have to make sure these are done. So we put a plan in place to update our utilities that are way beyond their lifespan. So we're working with state levels on some grants that'll hopefully come our way in the next year. And we had a meeting with the Department of Education and House of Finance up at the state level back in October, that we participated in to let them know where Londonderry is and what the needs are, as are many other school districts in the state. We figured if Londonderry could show the way, it would help everybody in the state education-wise. So that's a lot of stuff I've been working on. and really excited and hope I get the opportunity to serve 3 more years and keep this excitement going inside the buildings. It's really changed this fall and that. So I'm really excited.
It really has, Bob. You can feel it in the community, and the idea of the town and the school working together is
That's
priceless,
a big thing.
and as it should be.
Yeah.
Together everyone can do so much more and accomplish so many great things. Do you have a final little that you'd like to say to our voters?
I hope you'll let me continue on this journey on the benefit of our children and our parents and our community to make Londonderry the best school district it can be. You always want to strive to be number one, and you always have to have a plan. We have several plans in place. I'd like to follow it through for the next 3 years because I think some really good things are on the horizon for us, financially wise, with funding and grants, as well as the 8 education portion, which I'm really excited. I want to continue to get in the schools, understand how they work, and push our curriculum, work with our superintendent, our assistant superintendent, to give our children the best education possible. So I'm hoping you all come out and vote on March 14th, and I hope I've earned your vote. You can go to my Facebook page and check all of the areas I've worked on with my board and in and out of the district. And I hope I've earned your vote. And please come out and vote on March 14th. It's important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob, for being with us.
Yes,
we
thank
really
you very much,
appreciate
yeah.
it. We know the voters do too. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. With us next, we have Ryan Cronin, who's running for our Budget Committee. And Ryan, I believe it's the 3-year position.
Yes, that's right.
And we thank you for being with us in the Londonderry View. Thank you for being willing to run and serve your community. And just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. This is my first time running for an elected position, so it's good to have this opportunity to get my name out there and tell people why I'm running. So my name is Ryan Cronin. I'm running for Budget Committee. I've been a New Hampshire resident for 9 years, Londonderry for about half of that, so about 4.5 years with my now wife, Katie. We have 2 young children. My 6-year-old plays in the Londonderry rec basketball and baseball. And my 2.5-year-old daughter is a member at Spectrum Gymnastics Academy. My wife and I like to give back to the community as well. My wife volunteers at an organization called Friends of Anya, which is an organization. They're in Manchester, and they deal with grieving children. So they counsel children who have lost loved ones. And I'm a volunteer, a baseball coach. I'm in the middle of the 2023 Leadership Londonderry class, which has been very enlightening and definitely spurred my interest in running for Budget Committee.
Good.
Excellent. It's wonderful. It's a great group of people, and you learn all about the community with Leadership Londonderry and how everything works. That's great. And great you took the initiative to jump in and get involved in that. That's great.
Yeah. I think we love living here. It's a terrific town.
It really is.
We want to raise our children here, so it made sense to get involved in the community, do what we can to give back. And with my background, it made sense to endeavor with the Budget Committee.
Okay.
So
Tell us a little bit more about your background.
I'm a vice president of analytics and financial reporting. I work for one of the largest multifamily housing management companies in the country. So in my role, I oversee about a dozen employees, oversee that they're all financial analysts. We focus on the budgeting, forecasting, and reporting for about 400 developments across the country.
Oh, wow.
Also my role, I compile and report on our company's key performance indicators. I'm responsible for the operational budget software, and I also coordinate with department heads on budget planning.
Wow.
And my prior role, as an assistant corporate controller, I was really the spearhead the budget, the organization of the budget, the company's budget. It's about $60-70 million annual budget. So again, dealing with different department heads on understanding their wants and needs in order to create a plan for the company at large. So I think those qualifications.
Quite a background.
It's a very good background for
my
the Budget
goodness.
Committee.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
bring a wealth of knowledge to it and different approach to things, I'm sure, too.
Yeah.
My goodness, boy.
Have you been, you said you've been in town for about half of that, half the time, and where were you before, if I can ask?
Yeah, so we lived in New Boston for
okay.
a couple years after we got married. That was our first house. Before that, we lived in an apartment in Manchester. And I'm originally from Massachusetts, but
you
don't
are.
hold that against me.
Yeah, we won't.
No, I think me too back in those early years,
Yeah.
so many of us, but we found
I'm trying to
the best
convince my
place in the
family
world
all to
live. Yeah.
move up here. They're all still down in Medford.
Oh, and
Yeah.
that's what happens.
Yeah.
You know, people just start to. Next thing you know, no, it's a.
I'm not holding my
phenomenal
breath.
place. Just a short trip back though,
Yeah,
too, which
it's
isn't too
yes, yeah, and that was part of the motivation to move to Londonderry. New Boston. It's beautiful out there as well, but there's not a lot of proximity to much,
No.
especially highways.
bad. No, there
So,
really isn't.
I work down in Lowell. My wife works in Manchester. Her company has since gone full remote, but back when we moved in 2018, and that was kind of the motivation was, well, I'm driving all this way. We now have a young son. I don't want to be spending all my day in the car.
Oh, good for
So
you.
yeah, that was, and we were looking for a town that we knew had a good reputation both as a town and in the school. So that was really the motivation to come to Londonderry.
Did your homework before you
We
picked
did.
Londonderry.
That's
I
good.
love that. That's true. And then, no, that's exciting. Yeah, really, really good.
So you
things for
have
them.
one boy, is that what
One
you said?
boy, yep,
Mhm.
and a daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
And how old was your daughter?
2.5,
Oh my goodness.
going on 16.
Oh, when you mentioned the gymnastics and going on 16, boy,
Yeah.
that brings back.
Yeah,
It does, it
Yeah,
does.
Yeah, and
she's an active one.
oh, is that something? You know.
So you, as far as the budget committee itself, I haven't done the leadership Londonderry, which I'm hoping to do soon, next round. Have you got a lot out of it as far as the different way things run in the town?
Yeah, so far. So we're about halfway through the curriculum. So I think we've hit a lot of the major ones. We're meeting with the school board today. We've met with
Yeah,
town council, and we've met with the town manager.
Elections.
Oh,
we were
yeah,
speaking
yeah.
of
We talked about elections. So
yeah.
we've done a lot so far, and we did meet with the budget committee and understood how they contribute to the budget planning. Not that they're more an advisory role,
Okay.
but still have a lot of impact. And
Right.
and they talk about the fact that people will look at the ballot and see how the budget committee weighed in on certain warrant articles, and it's
100%.
you carry a lot of weight with your
Even though it's advisory, I always
Yeah.
check that, because I know that it's wonderful people that have been elected to represent us, and I always check that out. Because sometimes it's difficult sometimes with some of the warrant articles to really understand the depth of them, but I know the budget
Right.
committee does, so I trust them,
Right.
on
Yeah.
many different things.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely part of it. I want to learn more, and certainly going through the rest of the leadership Londonderry. But if I do have the luxury of being elected, I want to hit the ground running, be able to learn as much as I can, so I can make an impact. I think for me, having the experience I do is really about operational efficiency, right? Just making sure that we're operating. Not to say that we're not, but that's always top of mind for me. While obviously considering the taxpayer. The taxpayer's the one paying the bills, so always keeping them top of mind and knowing and realizing that we have a growing population and an aging population that we are thinking forward as to make sure we're planning at the resources and improvements to make sure we're maintaining those.
With everything the way it is now, it's very, the budget committee is so important to the town
Really is.
because it's just, the way things are now, it's just crazy
Oh
out there
my
with all the
goodness.
pricing and everything else, and looking forward, having that
Exactly.
ability to, plan ahead is very difficult
Project,
now.
It really is.
Because who knew how we'd be in this
Oh.
situation just a couple of years ago,
That's right.
We never would have guessed with the pricing of housing and eggs and gas.
Exactly.
Everything really. And as you mentioned, we are a growing community. We have so many wonderful little ones and everyone in the middle. But we also have quite an extensive senior
That's right.
population. And we have to make sure that they can afford to live here.
Right.
And that's an important role for the
And,
budget committee.
and real estate taxes is one of their biggest
Yeah,
expenses.
Oh, it really is.
So for those property owners,
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, boy, good stuff.
Well,
So-
is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewers as far as for voting for you on the budget committee?
No,
and-
again, I just want to thank you both for the opportunity, and like to just ask the audience that I hope I earned your vote, ask you for your support and for your vote on March 14th. And yeah, looking forward to it, and hopefully I can give back to
There
the
you go.
community.
It was a pleasure having you with us, Ryan.
It was very
Thank
nice meeting
so
you.
Much.
Very
It
nice.
really was, and thank you for being willing to jump in,
I'm excited.
make a difference. So thank you. Hi, everyone. We're here now with Joe Green, who is running for re-election for our town council. And Joe, thank you for your service all these years.
Oh,
and,
thank you very much. Appreciate it.
yeah.
Good to be here.
and thank you for taking the time. We just want you to share a little with everyone that's viewing.
Great. So for those of you who don't know me, I came to Londonderry about 28 years ago. I'm married to a woman named Mary, wonderful woman named Mary, backbone of my family, with 2 kids, Joey and Stephanie. I'm currently director of retail strategy and innovation for a company that's out of Massachusetts. We have convenience stores, but really, I'm just a regular Joe. So as much as people say, hey, you're a town councilor, you're a politician, I just say, no, I'm just somebody that cares about Londonderry and wants to do the right thing for its citizens. It started out way back when I got into baseball, and I worked in LAFA for about 7 years coaching and running some of the leagues. Then I moved over to Londonderry Basketball League and worked with them for about 8 years. And I'm most proud about building the soccer Londonderry Youth Soccer Association over 12 years, and really touching all of the aspects of the youth that come up, and really making sure that they had somebody to kind of help them and guide them through some of the rougher years. I remember when moms used to come over to me and say, Sally's not getting their homework done. Can you help them, coach? Can you tell them, coach? And all of a sudden they got their homework done. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of funny.
Coming from a coach.
As far as my governmental experience, I spent some time, a couple of years on the budget committee. I did zoning board for about 2 years, and in the past 12 years I've been on the council. So
12 years is a
12 years.
long, good,
Thank you
good
for your
run. Yeah.
service.
no, thank you
That's
very much.
Definitely.
Thank you for the
amazing,
honor, actually.
Yeah.
Very proud to be on the Senior Resource Committee and Recreation Committee, as well as Library Trustees. And I get to see you guys all the time
Senior
on the
Resource
Senior Resource
Committee.
Committee. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, Deb and I and you. It's wonderful.
Look, one of the things about town council is that obviously it's the fiduciary for the town. So not only do we handle the town side funds, but we also handle the school side funds. And one of the things that's kind of a little bit unique about it is that everybody says, well, why are my taxes going up? Well, let me let you know, in the past 12 years that we've done, I think, a phenomenal job keeping the town side tax rate down. In fact, in 2013, the tax rate was at $5.19, and this year it's at $4.22. So really bringing that down. How do we do that? By basically growing up the airport area, in that area, making sure that we can balance the amount of services that we can provide to the citizens by increasing industrial taxation. So that makes the residential taxes go down without cutting any of those services that we all need. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that kind of tries to be glass half full, even though sometimes there's some negativity that comes out, because not everybody agrees with exactly 100% of the things that you talk about. But we do try to ensure that we do things for the town instead of for what we think.
Right, representing the
Yep.
residents.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that we always work on is trying to make sure that we use our skills, and each one of us has different skills on the council. And I think the great thing about us being together for so many years, the three of us, John and Jim and myself, has been that we understand each other. And look, we don't always agree, but we have specific specialties. I'm very analytical, and I have done this for 28 years in my own company, working on several $1 million worth of budget, so I get to look at the little pieces that in each department that we could save the tax dollars, so that pass that on to the citizens. So I like to work with numbers, so that's kind of they say, oh, okay, Joe will go over there and he'll dig deep in it. One of the other things that I think is super important is the safety of the people in town. And a lot of times we'll say, well, we had to cut the budget, and this firefighter, that police officer, this SRO. In fact, this year they said, well, the only way we can do it is take an SRO out. And I said, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. during my watch. And that's our most precious resource is our children, right? So we have to make sure that we make those decisions that are going to keep people safe. I was always concerned about fires in town and not having hydrants, so I fought very hard to make sure we had the hydrant truck, the tanker truck, so that we could get water to places quickly. And so, and that's why. I mean, we have the greatest folks working in police and fire, really in the state, in my opinion. And and that allows us to have, very low crime rates, which in fact will help you with your values at home.
Right, absolutely.
Definitely.
As far as that economic development I was talking about earlier, there's a corridor up there by the airport, the 102 corridor that, again, we continue to push industrial and commercial base so that, again, to make sure we don't continue to raise taxes so that and take that money out of your wallet and off your table. We make sure that we bring people in like Milton Katz, FedEx, FW Web, UPS to take that tax burden off of us. And that the combination of that has kind of worked because we have more and more companies coming to our our town, like Troy's Fresh Kitchen. Jersey Mike's recently, Renegades and Hot Pot, some of my favorites. But yeah, I mean, it's been very, very good, and I think that when you go to re-elect somebody, you have to take a look at what they've done over the past 12 years, and I think the team of us have really, really changed the trajectory and made Londonderry a much, much better place to live.
Okay.
I know one of the things that you had pushed for was the veterans. I don't know if you call it an exemption. It's not an exemption.
Yeah.
It's a credit for the taxes, and I thought that was wonderful that you didn't. You really were firm on the 750, and that I thought that was great.
Thank you very much. I mean, one of the things that that continues to happen is that they say, well, when you reduce the amount of money that comes in, you actually will reduce increase the taxes. I said, but if we continue to bring businesses in the industrial area, we can continue to provide those services and then pass it along to, do you think you're talking about the 25% calculation on elderly property value exemptions?
Those two, right.
And that was huge. And then the other thing that we were working very hard on that I've been insisting is to adjust the qualifying levels down for somebody to get into that in the first place because income keeps going up, but we don't ever adjust the level. So more and more people haven't been able to take advantage of it. But love my brothers and sisters on the town council, but these are the times that I stand up for them and say, no, I'm not going to wait for this. It needs to be done. Even with the veterans tax, I challenged the council when they said, no, we can't go up. And I said, we have to go up 100% immediately. And so, I tend to be the person that fights for the people that suffer in silence.
Yes.
They say it, and these a lot of the seniors in town and a lot of the veterans, they won't come up and say that they need anything.
You're right.
So it's my duty to make sure that I protect their interests and make sure that we give back to those people. Really, the seniors have made this town what it is today, and the veterans have fought for our freedoms, and those are super important.
Right, that their voices are heard, Joe.
Definitely.
100%.
I just wanted to mention a little bit about water. I know there's been a lot of the clean water things in the town. And look, like I said, 30% of Londonderry's land is set aside for conservation and open space, and I continue to push for that. I think it's a really great idea to make sure that we protect our aquifers, things like the town forest, Lithia Springs, the Mosquash, the rail trail. These are just jewels that are, we really want to keep, protected. And the more things that are built, obviously put a strain on that, and this is why we have to really keep an eye on it. I mean, it's just been a great time, and I really think that there's a continuity between the council, these members, the core members of them, and we love to bring new folks on. It's been nice to usher in a new kind of age, and some of the younger folks. I love that, getting involved with those guys and kind of taking them under my wing and really coach them, because I can't do it forever. But
that's true.
I hope to be here to usher in a new age. Continue to do that.
Share the wisdom.
Share the wisdom. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to do as a final word to the voters out there as far as getting the vote for yourself?
Yeah, thank you. I just prepared a little bit of a statement here. I just want to make sure I get it clear. So, You know, if I'm reelected, I'll continue to be that fiscal responsible leader that works day and night to maintain high-level superior services while continuing to minimize any tax impacts on its residents. While safety of the community is paramount and at the highest level of my priorities, I'll always look for ways to achieve that goal without reaching into your pocketbooks. I've used common sense approach to make decisions and that affect your wallet, and will continue to do so throughout my tenure if reelected. I feel that having transparency in government is a requirement, not just a nice to have. Being honest and upfront is very necessary in this position. Some may call us the town council, you know, like I said before, politicians. But again, I consider myself just a regular Joe who wants to help Londonderry. I'll never be afraid to make decisions that are unpopular, as long as it's the right thing to do. I'll continue to stand up for the seniors and veterans who suffer in silence. I'll continue to support economic development in appropriate areas in town, which will bring in additional tax revenue, allowing your town side taxes to stay low. If you cast a vote for me in March, you vote for a person who has already had a proven track record. I promise to continue to fight hard to maintain the quality of life that you've come to be accustomed to without robbing your wallet. I listen to the experts and not pretend I know better than them. I will continue to maintain staffing that meets or exceeds levels of comparable towns without always increasing tax rates. Again, I will do it without holding my hand out every time we need to increase. To me, the difference is clear. I won't promise you things that cannot be achieved, like some others do. I'm here now, and I know the difference between pipe dreams and the reality of getting the job done. I'll not make statements that are fictional and that are not based on hard evidence. I'm the council that does his homework and bases his decisions on the facts. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I've done that for the past 12 years and will continue to proceed in that same vein if you give me that opportunity. Your vote matters. Too many times people think that the incumbent will easily get in and they do not come out and vote. They then regret it, right, when they see that that strong, consistent leadership is challenged and leaves. My opponents are hoping for low turnout. Don't give them the satisfaction. Make your voices heard. Come out and support the guy who has been here for you for the past 12 years. I've truly been honored to serve you on the town council, and thank you for the opportunity. And as always, I'm available. My phone number 978-965-1219, 978-965-1219, and I'm available on email at joegr617@aol.com, joegr617@aol.com. Yes, I still have an AOL email.
We still
I do
have
too.
Hotmail.
So on March 14th, I again ask for your support and your vote. Please re-elect me, Joe Green, to Town Council for the great town of Londonderry.
Oh, Joe, thank you
Appreciate
so
it. No,
much.
thank you
so
for the
much for coming.
opportunity to be heard.
We really
It's
appreciate
really
it.
big honor to be on The View,
Yeah.
finally.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. We have Amy Finamore with us here tonight on the Londonderry View, and she's running for re-election for our school board here in town. And Amy, thank you so much for being
Welcome,
with us
welcome.
tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sherry and Debbie. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Wait, so if you just want to share with the viewers a little bit about what you do, about being in Londonderry, your involvement with the school board through the years, and yeah, we'd love to hear.
Oh, thank you. So as Sherry said, my name is Amy Finamore. I am finishing up my third year on the school board. I'm currently, right now, I'm serving as the chair of the school board, and I just absolutely love being able to serve in this capacity. So I am running for re-election, and I'm actually really running because the first time I ran as well, my husband and I, we met in college. We both went to State University, and we met in college, and we obviously now live in Londonderry, and we have 2 children. And I feel like through my time, not only in public K-12 education, but especially in public higher education, it was truly this transformational experience, and and being able to then move on from public higher education and really get 2 very good jobs. We've been incredibly lucky, and I know firsthand how powerful and transformative public education is, and I really want to continue being able to serve on the board and support strong and effective public education in Londonderry.
That is wonderful.
That was beautifully said, too. That
Thank-
really was. My
thank you.
goodness. Boy.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background, as
Oh.
far as your
what do
what
you
you
do?
do.
Yeah.
There maybe
Yeah.
what you do as far as working or your family.
Oh, sure. So I, well, as I mentioned, so I went to college. I have a bachelor's degree in history, which I love. I love history. And then I went on to get a master's degree in economic development.
My goodness.
And then actually once I was working, I work at a university.
Oh, so you work in a university now?
I
Oh,
do. I work at a
wonderful.
local school, and
Oh.
well, I work at a local college. And then once I was at the college, I actually was able to earn a second master's degree. So I have another master's degree in higher education administration.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
And I work as a senior program manager for institutional effectiveness, which is not a really common job title, but it's probably, I think, the best job ever. So if you think of like a process circle, so you think of like kind of like a circle and has like the arrows that kind of point at each other.
Right, sure.
You would actually start and you would say, well, what is our mission? What is our vision? What is it that we are really trying to accomplish? So the principles could be applied to anything. So you kind of start and you say, well, what are we actually really trying to accomplish? And then you say, okay, this is what we're trying to accomplish. And then you say, well, what are the measures or the objectives or the outcomes that you want to see as proof or evidence of fulfillment of your mission? So you kind of identify what it is that you, what you're measuring, how you're measuring it, and then what your evidence is. And then once you've gathered that, you really, you evaluate it and then you reflect on it.
Oh, wow.
And then it's kind of like, and then the circle just continues. So you say, okay, this is where we are, and then, this is our mission and our vision, and then this is, this is how we were doing, and then this is actually where we want to be, and this is what we're going to do to kind of get there.
Marker events along
Yep,
that.
so it's just kind of like once you get to the end, it just kind of starts over all the time, because even if you've met all of your objectives
Right.
and you're saying, oh, actually we're really great, it doesn't mean you can't still continue to improve.
Always,
Very
yeah,
well
always.
put.
And that's great for the
Amy,
school
yeah.
board because you're always looking forward
Oh, my
for
goodness.
there's something that has to be done now and also forward too.
And
So
with the changes in
Yeah.
society, that's, you explained it very well, too. I like that. That
Oh,
was
I-
great, Amy.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Yeah.
So if I actually can share one super fun thing about my job that I think could actually really applies well to school board. One thing that I do, I really like taking a lot of data and complex information and synthesizing it so that it's really easy to understand and it's very succinct. So I do that a lot at work, and I take a lot of data and I make these short narrative reports about different aspects of student success. So one report I did was on the efficacy of incomplete outcomes, or actually the efficacy of the incomplete policy, really. So at the end of a term, a student can say, you know what, I need a couple extra days, maybe something happened, I'm really sick,
Right.
and I need maybe an extra week or 2 weeks. And you can, you can actually do that in high school. You could offer an incomplete. You can offer an incomplete in higher education as well. But I actually really wanted to say, well, what are the actual outcomes of incomplete? So are students successfully completing and then converting to a letter grade, or are they actually not completing? So I was able to look at the data and really look at the effectiveness of the incomplete policy. And the reason I wanted to share that is because if I'm lucky enough to be reelected, one thing I'd really like to do is actually kind of bring that concept to the school board moving forward. So as an example, in the middle school and the high school, we have something called a reassessment policy. So if a student says, you know what, I just didn't do as well on this summative, on this final project as I really wanted to, I think I can do better, they can sit with their teacher and work together on a plan to repeat or to make up even just a portion of it, and it's called a reassessment because they're taking their assessment again. And that is, first off, phenomenal. I'm in such support of that.
Right.
But it's also like this great data source to actually say, well, what is the effectiveness of the
success rate, right?
of the reassessment policy? So how many students are using it? Are they using it on the same piece? And actually, maybe it's an opportunity to really make sure we're reinforcing that area of the curriculum. What is the starting point? So like, did a student get a C and then they said, you know what, I know I can do better, and they reassess and they get a B. So like, what are the outcomes we're actually seeing as a result of this policy?
Right.
And then we could actually share that information out at a school board meeting and say, we actually have students who are like these self-driven, engaged learners, and they saw that they knew that they could do better, and then they wanted to.
Self-improvement.
Definitely, yeah.
Initiative.
Oh, tons of
Oh, my
initiative, right?
goodness.
I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you're a student and you go to your teacher and you say, I actually want to do better.
And they give you the opportunity to do so, and you
Right.
can, that's really great.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
really great.
The old teacher in me loves that. That's, oh my goodness. Because so often, like you said, having a bad day, something happened with a friend, something happened with a family member, and then that dictated that 10 minutes, that half an hour that was spent
Yeah.
on that paper that could hold so much in their and grade and all those. That's an excellent idea, Amy.
Oh,
No,
thank you.
we hadn't heard about that before.
Yeah.
No.
And it's our wonderful, we have amazing administrators at our middle school and our high school, and they actually came up with this policy to give students the chance to reassess. So, yeah, not me at all, but
That's
it's something.
interesting.
That is really good. Is that something that goes through New Hampshire, or is it just our schools that are doing that?
I don't know the
Or
answer to
across the
that. That's a
country.
great,
Okay, yeah.
great question.
But somebody had the
Someone had the
thought
idea.
to bring it
Mhm.
to bring it forward.
Mhm.
Wow,
That's
Oh,
very
something
good.
positive and encouraging. Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
And you
Well-
can do the statistical part of it and all the,
Yeah.
the breakdown.
That's my favorite part
I
of it.
love that.
That's good. Well, is there anything you'd like to tell the our audience, our voters out there? Asking for their vote, of course, to sum up your whole platform.
Sure. So my name is Amy Finamore. I am running for re-election to the school board. I have, as I said at the beginning, absolutely loved the chance to be on the school board and to serve our students and our schools and our community. Personally, I really like to think that I am honest and kind, and I bring a lot of skills to the role. I'm a very good listener, and I'm grateful for the chance to have been on the board. I have absolutely loved the last 3 years I've been able to serve, and I would be incredibly grateful to earn your vote.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, Amy.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Huh?
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Excellent.